Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day. Guys, in today's video, I want to talk about the Chimera teams that I ran this week. As you can see, I ran pretty much the same team, just with one little difference. In one team, I used Narma, and in the other team, I used Balar. Now, both of them are used in a same way. Both of them are poison activation champions and also function as a damage dealer in this team, okay? Other than that, everything is pretty much the same. Now, with Narma, I got 16 trials done, and with Balar, I got 17. One more trial. I think that was the block active skills trial. So basically, you can complete the same amount of trials with both of these teams. There's really no big difference other than the champions. The teams cover the same debuffs, the same buffs, so everything is pretty much the same. And so is the outcome of the damage and the clash points. Now with Narma, I was able to do a little bit more damage than with Balar. 10 million damage is actually pretty significant. Now you might ask yourself, why is that? And I think the biggest reason is because Balar is relatively squishy and dies a lot, where Narma survives because she has a little bit more HP and defense, more base HP, more base defense, and can survive easier. Now, before we talk about all the pros and cons, because there are some points that I want to point out, I want to show you both runs, not the full runs, that's like 40 minutes or something, just like a couple snippets of it where you can see the damage output of Balar and Narma, and also show you in what situations they perform better than the other. Now, this is the run with Narma. This is on the Ram form, and the Ram form has the highest defense. I pretty much have all the damage multipliers that you can bring here. I have the Erratic Coronet on her, I have the Boss Slayer, I have Feral and Incancer in Feral, I have Fina in Protection, and the only thing that is missing is kind of like a 6-star or a 5-star soul or whatever, a higher soul, but both of them have a 3-star soul, so, you know, the same awakening level basically, and the same. They had the same relic and the same blessing. And yeah, Narma really surprised me. Now here, the 400,000 damage, that was not really a lot, but I think that's also because of the decreased crit damage that she had right there. But yeah, you can see she hit for like 700 something thousand with the A1, with the ally attack, which was kind of nasty. And that's kind of like the thing with Narma. And also really cool synergy with Incancer and Narma here on the ally attacks. She will increase the debuff duration, so the debuffs will never fall off. All right, and now here you can see we have the free trials done. And now only the hard trial is missing to, you know, deal 750,000 damage with one hit. Okay. Narma did it, okay? Narma did it, 802,000 damage with one hit. If you see her stats, you will be surprised, but she can't do it. I probably got a Helm Smasher proc there as well. But yeah, you can do it with 3-star soul. I also saw people doing it with no soul at all, but you probably have to have really insane gear then. You know, you don't get the extra stats from the soul, which is then a lot more harder to do, but you know, she can do it. And we're going to talk about the multipliers and everything in a second. And I find her a little bit better on the line form, because the first trial that we have to do here is damage the Chimera while it is under leech. And with Balar, sometimes it falls off because my Balar is not the fastest one. So sometimes it falls off and then you need to replace it again and you kind of lose a little bit of time. But with Narma, you just extend it all the time and you don't lose it at all. And the debuffs just stay on the form. And yeah, it's just super easy to do. The only thing that I don't like with Narma is that you have to swap with Galatir on the Ram form. As you can see here, I actually started recording a little bit too late. Here I already placed the increased accuracy on everyone with Galatir. I swapped the forms, you know, when I got into the Ram form, I revived and then swapped forms, placed the increased accuracy, and then let everybody place debuffs. That's the first thing you got to do. And with Balar, you don't have to do that. With Balar, you just use it with, you just use the increased accuracy of Balar. And that's kind of like, one pro for Balar and one con for Narma. And then on the line form, like I said, you can extend the debuffs with Narma. You will never lose the leech. As you can see, you have like 10 turns on the decreased speed and so on. So yeah, it's much more comfortable with Narma, and also she has the heal. You can heal up again, which helps a lot, where Balar just does straight up damage, and that's it. I have to say though, going into the Viper form, the Viper trial, the Poison trial is much easier with Narma, because look at this. We go into the Viper form and we already have 2 poisons up. Okay, we already have 2 poisons up. All I basically have to do is, use Narma's A3 and then her A2. That's all I have to do, and the poison trial is done. And yeah, she also places the poison sensitivity on her A3, and she places the poisons for 3 turns, where Balar places them for 2 turns only. Okay, so that's kind of like the upside for Narma. That's where she gets the job done quicker and more consistently. With Balar, it's a little bit harder to do. So yeah, now I just have to boost Narma again. So she gets a turn, activate the poisons, and that's pretty much it. And even if the passive doesn't proc, all you have to rely on is extend one of those poisons with your Master Hexa Mastery. And that's about it. So yeah, very easy to do with Narma, this poison trial. Now with Balar, like I said, you go into the ramp form, and you just place the increased accuracy with him. You don't have to swap forms with Galatier, so that's a little bit more comfortable on the ramp form, but he can deal the damage as well. He even hits a little bit harder than Narma. I think it's because of his passive that, ramps up damage. You get like 20% Death Ignore just from his passive alone. And I think that's why he can hit a little bit harder, even though his stats are also a lot higher. So, with the amount of stats that Narma has, he wouldn't be able to deal that damage to complete these trials. So, yeah, that's kind of like another upside for Narma. She doesn't need or require crazy stats. And now you can see in a second a pretty hard hit from Balar. Narma was never able to reach that damage on my build that I have on her. And yeah, there you go, 1.1 million damage. I never went over 900 something thousand with Narma. So yeah, here going into the Viper form, Balar is very squishy. You need to have some defense stats and HP on him, which is hard to do. And as you can see, he's placing 3 poisons for 2 turns, no poison sensitivity, so you kind of have to hit with the A1 as well. That's why Incansa is good, because, the highest crit damage champion in your team will always follow up on her A1 and ally attack, and then you have a chance to place the poison sensitivity. And there we go, he's placing it. So yeah, I pretty much have to activate the poisons 2 times on the Viper form with Balar, where Narma most of the time only has to do it once, and that is a lot easier to do. Alright, but now let's compare their kits and multipliers a little bit. So on the right side you have Balar's kit, and on the left side you have Narma's kit. Now let's start off with Narma. She has the A1 with a 4.9 multiplier, which is relatively high already. She can increase the duration of all debuffs, which is very, very helpful to keep up the debuffs for trials. 75% chance is also a relatively high chance. Then her A2 has a 6.5 multiplier. She's placing decreased attack, which Balar doesn't, but both of them are providing leech, so that's a similarity, and both of them can activate poisons. Her A3 places poison sensitivity and 3 poisons for 3 turns, which is a lot better than Balar's poison skill in terms of the poisons. You only need 10 ticks on the Viper form, and that's like already 9 ticks right here. And then she's also placing poisons on her passive, or she has a chance to place poisons with her passive, and that procs a lot. And this has a 6.8 multiplier. insanely high, okay? On the other hand, Balar has the shield on his A1. It's a 3.8 multiplier. All his multipliers are lower than Narma's. He has the leech on A2 as well as the poison activation, and he's placing the poisons on his A3. Now, he's also placing the increased accuracy on all allies, which makes it a lot easier to build his accuracy. You need less accuracy with him, like 350, that's totally fine to place debuffs, okay? And also he's providing the decreased resistance. And increased accuracy and decreased resistance are kind of like the main buffs and debuffs that Galatir brings to the table for trials. Not a lot of champions can provide decreased resistance that are also doing a lot of other stuff. You know, there's Galatir, there's Klazak, there's Balar, and those are kind of like the best ones. Then you have the Frog Amok or whatever his name is, and some other champions that don't really do much else. So in general, you know, he overlaps with Galatir a lot on this skill here with the increased accuracy and decreased resistance. But then he's placing 3 poisons, but no poison sensitivity, okay? And only for 2 turns. His passive contributes a lot to his damage because he's ignoring 20% of the target's defense after activating 20 poisons, which he will do fairly easily and fast. And he's gaining turn meter whenever poison debuffs are placed on an enemy. So, as you can see, they have like slightly different kits, but perform very, very similar in a similar role for Chimera. Balar's multipliers are definitely lower, but you don't need a lot of accuracy because he has that increased accuracy. Narma doesn't. You have to build her with more accuracy. Balar doesn't place the poison sensitivity on his A3, you know, at the same time with the poisons. He's placing it on the A1. Then you have no other utility like survivability from Balar. Narma does heal the team with her A2 when she places the leech and the decreased attack. Balar can ramp up damage with his passive. Narma can't, but she has higher multipliers. So there are a lot of pros and cons here, which we have to take into the equation. And here you can see the builds that I used them in, at least the artifacts and the stats. I built them both in a 6-piece Merciless set, 1 Zeal set. That is kind of like the common approach here for non-max HP damage dealers. And, you know, 1 extra pinpoint or 1 extra feral set for additional accuracy. As you can see, Narma has a lot more accuracy than Balar because of that increased accuracy from Balar. Narma has a lot more base HP, like 4,500 more base HP. Then she has a lot less base attack. 1k is very, very low. Very hard to scale her attack from attack percentage substats or main stats. And she's at 5.6k attack only, but she was still able to deal enough damage. The base defense of Narma is higher by 300. Then she's a little bit faster on the base speed with 6 more speed. Balar has more crit damage and Narma has more base accuracy. That's 10 more accuracy on the base stat. And both got the job done. You know, Balar has almost 8k attack, like something around 7.8k attack, where Narma has 2,000 attack less than Balar and was still able to do the damage trials. The crit damage was similar. Both of them were built with a 70% crit rate build because of Fina. She's buffing that increased crit rate. But like I said, Narma needs more accuracy, but Balar needs less because he's self-buffing. So yeah, in the end, it comes down what you need for your team. I don't think either one of them is better than the other. I think they are very, very similar, but they perform in different situations better than the other. And that's just the way it is. And I think it comes down to what you prefer. Also, another thing is they have different affinities. So basically, when the trial forms are on magic affinity, you don't want to use a Balar, you want to use a Narma. And when the trial forms are on forest affinity, you don't want to use a Narma, you want to use a Balar. And that's how it goes. So I think they both are extremely good for Chimera trials. Now, to decide who's better or worse, I think that comes down to personal preference and also the affinity of the Chimera boss. So yeah, guys, that's been pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to give you a little detailed comparison and some pros and cons where Balar is better than Narma, where Narma is better than Balar, but both of them are very, very similar and, perform on, the top tier level when it comes to trials. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please smash that like button. Also, let me know in the comments below who you prefer, Narma or Balar. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Raid content. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.